Hey guys, wanted to make another quick in-game guide video for anyone out there playing Last Epoch, curious about the in-game, curious about what is possible in terms of getting there, how to unlock the real in-game, and what to look for once you get there. The very first thing of note, when you are getting close to the end of the campaign, I'd probably recommend in the 50s level-wise, you can start running your monoliths themselves to either level your character or just start into the end game if you don't really care about the campaign. One thing that I would recommend though is when you are high enough level where the campaign itself would be kind of a joke, or if it'd be really easy for your character to complete, I would go back and finish the campaign itself, because it does give you 1 to all attributes, which is very helpful for most characters. It will be slightly impactful for most, but definitely recommend getting that done before getting too far, or just don't forget about it essentially. But once you do get to the monoliths themselves, technically the first time that you come through these monoliths, they are a part of the campaign, which isn't necessarily stated, but there are quests associated with it. When you get here though, the real Giga Chad strat, the easiest way to get to Empowered Monoliths is to go up this right side here. So this right side is technically the only side that's required to unlock the last 3 zones. So the Spirits of Fire, the Age of Winter, and the Last Ruin. These 3 are the ones that are required to get you into Empowered Monoliths. So that is the true in-game. That's where corruption starts to really build and ramp. Rewards are much better in that area as well. So like I said, easy, fast way is to go up the right side. Once you complete it, you can go back and, or I guess if you needed to, you could complete these ones on the left. They just technically don't count towards the progress to unlock those last 3 monolith islands at the end. But if you needed to grind levels, or you just wanted to complete the story, maybe it's the first time through, you just want to go through and kill all those bosses first, even maybe potentially have some experience on the bosses that these monoliths have. Not the worst idea in the world, but if you're trying to get to the end game as fast as possible, the right side is the way to do it. Once you complete the Reign of Dragons, these 3 at the top will unlock. All you have to do from that point on is complete the timeline in these 3 zones. Once you complete the timelines there, this little zone in the middle, it is connected with a bridge here, even though technically we're just, using the waypoints to get everywhere. It's connected in the middle. All you need to do is walk out to the middle here. There'll be 3 of the paths with a glowing light, and the middle object will be clickable. That is how you actually unlock the Empowered Monoliths themselves. That will give you the option essentially to run all of the different monoliths on level 100 with starting corruption of, I think, 100 to begin with. That is the actual way to get to the end game, or the end game itself. Once you're here, obviously you have your monolith web to work through, choose the rewards that you're looking for. Again, tons of different rewards that you can pick from. There are anything that you could be target farming, some things that are just fine to get out of the way as you are progressing towards a certain goal in the web itself. One of which, obviously, XP. If your character still needs to level up, you're still not in the 90 plus or 95 plus area, you still want to just kind of burn through XP to get there. These are not bad to at least somewhat give you kind of a handhold as you climb the ladder. One thing to keep note, every time you complete one of the echoes itself, it's going to give you not only the reward and not only the stability for this bar up top, which is essentially how you unlock and get to the final boss. But the other thing it's going to do is it's going to give the modifiers for the maps themselves, or for the enemies on the maps. This one here, enemies have a 20% chance to chill on hit. There's going to be some out here that maybe your character wants to avoid. You stack these up and they last for a certain amount of echoes within the map. So this one would last for 2. you can see that the two that I have right now only have one more left on them, or one more echo left before they dissipate. But high health enemies deal 25% more increased damage, and then enemies have a 40% chance to apply Mark of Death on hit. So once you're kind of cruising through these maps, you can stack these up. For the most part, you're more or less just looking for maybe something that your character is weak to, but you can kind of cruise through these. If you're on softcore, none of this really matters because, you know, your character can die as many times as you want or need. If you're on hardcore, definitely something to keep an eye out on or keep a closer watch of. Once you have completed the timeline itself, or that filled up the stability for the Empowered Monolith, instead of going through the different quest bosses how you would in a normal Monolith, you know, where you would have this quest echo kind of unlocked, then this one, then this one. In an Empowered Monolith, you just need to get to the full amount of stability, and then you can fight that end game or that end Monolith boss immediately. Also, something worth noting is once you do kill that end Monolith boss, you gain a Gaze of Orbis. These Gazes of Orbis are something that increase the level of corruption that you get once you have killed one of the bosses here, Orbis, that are on the fringes of a Monolith web. So obviously this one's not super built out, but up here this is fairly far away from the starting point. Here it is. Here I only have one gaze right now, so it is going to give +4 corruption and then +10 corruption from the Gaze of Orbos, so that one only gives 10. So you can stack these up. If I am currently farming for an item, I can completely stack this stability just over and over and over, farming that last game boss and then gaining more of these to pump my corruption up faster. That is a strategy definitely worth looking into if that's the route that you want to go. Corruption itself is going to make everything harder in the monoliths themselves, or in the Empowered Monoliths. And it'll also provide higher rewards for you as you progress as well. Certain rewards are more common above certain thresholds of corruption, so something to keep in mind when you are farming for a specific unique or just looking for a little bit of extra challenge. I've seen people obviously push this number to crazy heights, thousands of corruption. This character is a little bit newer, a little bit more laid back and chill, so something to keep in note. The other thing is, once you're in any monolith, even if it's normal, technically the normal monoliths can get corruption as well. If you need to reduce the amount of corruption that you have, say every time you go into a map you're just getting one shot, or there are some issues for you, this echo here will reset the web itself, and it will reduce the corruption. Probably only recommend this if you're really struggling, or if you know you're going to just get one shot in a certain type of map. But these bosses here, again, another piece, they will reset this echo web. So instead of having, you know, this massive web to come back to, which is the case if you do complete the stability and kill this boss, when you come back you still have all of this to progress on. If you complete that boss on the fringe, these here, everything will reset and it'll look as though you've just come into that echo for the very first time. The stability will increase as well, so you'll need more stability to get to that boss, and then the corruption will increase as well. But something to keep an eye on. Obviously too, these do provide just base level corruption on their own, depending on how far out they are from the middle. So you can look around if you are really farming a web, really farming like a boss, like this boss for the Reign of Dragons. These will provide kind of a base level bit of corruption, but at different variations depending on where they are. So something else to kind of keep note of. But for the most part, that is a breakdown of the in-game, how to get there, what to look for, how to boost your corruption, and then essentially how to save yourself if you're a little bit in over your head. Hope that helps.